housekeeping before we let you all go. There is going to be a bigger patch that is coming out soon.
Hey, what is going on, you guys? So if you caught that first clip at the very beginning of the video, yes, we do have a big patch heading our way. This is different from hotfixes. Patches are way bigger than a hotfix. And Alisa Melendez, if you don't know who she is the voice actor for Tyreen in Borderlands 3, and she's always on Couch Co-op every Thursday for Gearbox Official on their Twitch channel. Now, you can always check her out. She always has guests that come on there, and they talk about different things, especially giving updates or their planned futures. They leak a lot of stuff, and not a lot of people watch this or see a lot of things that they talk about on there. But one of the guests that she did have on there is Grant Ko, and he talks about, future updates and what they have going on for weapons and build diversities. But I am going to just let you guys watch this next clip, and he will tell you exactly who he is and what he does.
I'm joined by the one, the only, Grant Ko, combat designer here at Gearbox. What's up? So here's a question. What does it mean to be a combat designer?
So I'm involved in all loops of the combat, and in Borderlands 3, that involves from the creation of gear to the balancing of character skills, passives, action skills, anointed gear, weapons, grenades, shields, the whole gamut. So all of those things.
So I take it for things like hot fixes and stuff, we're yelling at you?
Yes.
So one of the first things that Grant and Elise talk about are weapon hotfixes, and he mentions that there are more to come. There are 200 legendary unique items that they want to increase because they're performing under level, or should I say they're just not quite performing the way they want them to, so they need buffs and adjustments. But a lot of this that are being adjusted is also to help create build diversity, and that's what they're really going for.
And then some weapon hotfixes, like for Creeping Death, Carrier, Gunnerang, seems to be like,
so
yays.
These are the weapons that were way below performance, and we just quickly put a number in to try to adjust them upwards. And there's more coming. These are just a few of them, but we have to test all of the ones that are coming. We have over 200 unique items, 200 legendary unique items, and we have way more unique items than that. So we are going through the whole list, and we're looking at all of the legendary ones, and these are the ones that got in this week. And there will be more coming with the goal of increasing build diversity. Hopefully some of these add to the build. We want some of the Atlas weapons to come into play. We like the Atlas builds with the homing and whatnot. So the Carrier got a big buff, and we also increased. We added Creeping Death to the loot drops last week, and fortunately we forgot to change the number. So this time now it's back, and the Creeping Death is a really strong weapon. So
nice.
So one of the next things that was brought up was character balancing. And we all know this is a PvE game, but they wanted to know how it works. So how does character balancing work in a PvE game? And this is what Grant had to tell us.
With a game like Borderlands, which is entirely PvE, what do you consider balanced? What does balance mean? Because you had experience on Battleborn as well.
Right.
So how does that compare?
Balance for Borderlands is different than a competitive multiplayer game where there's player versus player. We have a goal with Borderlands, and that was a goal from the very beginning, which was to increase the amount of play styles, build diversities, just in general build diversity across the board. And we did that by adding multiple action skills, by adding a lot more legendaries, by adding artifacts, anointed gear, but there's a lot of vectors to this, and we wanted to. And sometimes, when there's an item that's so much stronger than other items, the build diversity gets limited, and people start gravitating towards one build and ignoring other points in other passives or other action skills. So when that negative behavior happens, we try to make a correction. But in general, our goal is to make fun, insane power synergies. We want you to find those things, and we want you to combine them to make your character as OP, as as you can, and we want to support that notion. So that's how we balance. That's the overarching goal of Borderlands. Anytime we see one build start overtaking others because of an item disparity, because of an item is dictating like, oh yeah, this is definitely the best way to play, then we try to make an adjustment. But we don't ever want to remove that play style. We just want to make sure that we enhance other ones at the same time. So there's never a, it's never a one-way street. It's always up and down.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very
Well, on character balancing, I must say I do agree with Grant, and I think they're doing a pretty decent job right now. And I know it's a PvE game and everything, but you don't want the game to be broken. And trust me, even though it's a PvE game, you want some diversity. You want to mix and match. It is RPG style game. If you just have one OP build, after a while, to me personally, it gets stale. I like to be able to change or do different builds for different bosses, or we have our different modes. And speaking of different modes, for upgraded Mayhem mode, harder difficulty and modifiers and everything else like that, he was able to tell us more. He got permission to tell us more about survivability on Vault Hunters and some of the tweaks and update changes that they're going to be bringing to our Vault Hunters like Mo, Zane, Mara, Flak, and everything. So this is what he had to say on these updates that we should be expecting.
Also, I got approval to talk about. We also have some things that we can talk about that's coming in the future that we are working on, things that we are looking at the very least. One of the big things from the character side of things is survivability for pets. Or like companions like the Digiclone or the Iron Bear, especially in the higher Mayhem levels.
Oh yeah, definitely had some Iron Bear requests too.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at that. We're finding the right ways to do it, and we're making sure that that those that enjoy being in the mech or those that enjoy using the Digiclone, you're gonna be okay. Like we're looking at ways to do it, and that's coming.
Now, one of the things that was brought up, and I'm really glad that this was brought up, was performance of the game. But Grant said that, this isn't something they just jump into real quick and do a quick fix. There's a lot that they have to dive into the game and change and do. It's not a very quick, easy fix. So he explains to us why we have to be patient pretty much with Gearbox. And I agree. Like, if it's a big patch that's hopefully coming up, as they said, then this performance issues are hopefully all going to be addressed with some more quality of life changes.
That word is performance.
Yeah. So performance is more than just a number tweak or a lever that I can pull, or I or the team can pull. Performance is a top to down look at all our things in the game, from loading a menu, to looking at a piece of art, to shooting a gun, to throwing a grenade, like all those things, or to a visual effect that pops up when an explosion happens. Like all those things go into how we monitor and analyze and fix performance. And that isn't a one-person job. That's like a multidisciplinary, multi-team tackling type of responsibility. And we are looking into it. And on top of that, when we do find those kinds of fixes, like, it is not a quick little lever that we can turn. It is a very deep-rooted, like, we need to go in and inject some kind of adjustment here and there. And that, that takes a lot of prep and a lot of testing and making sure we get it right. So yes, performance is coming. Performance increases are being worked at. But it is definitely.
Now, one of the next things that Grant gets to tell us and talk to us about is Mayhem mode and the changes and the future updates that they have planned for Mayhem mode.
Plans for any like Mayhem mode related?
Yes. On top of being related to the character balance and whatnot, I also designed Mayhem mode.
Hey, look at you!
So that's a good question.
That's a very good question. All right, tell us everything. Okay, well, maybe not everything, but some of it.
So we are looking at Mayhem. Mayhem is definitely one of the areas that we want to keep expanding on and have it evolve and kind of meet what players' expectations of Mayhem are. And the goal of Mayhem at the inception of the feature was to allow for players to kind of replay all the maps, farm all the bosses, and complete all the side missions that they want at a higher difficulty, but also at with modifiers that kind of, not force you, but to promote finding new gear and new class mods and changing your build up a little bit to kind of overcome some of the penalties. And obviously some of the penalties that we feel might be a little too rough. Bullet reflect being one of them. I know that's one that fans are not happy about. And we're probably going to make an adjustment there too. So that's definitely happening in the near future. So amongst other things. So yeah, bullet reflect is definitely one that I can talk about and say like, yeah, it didn't exactly do what we wanted it to do. So we'll make adjustments there.
So I must agree with Grant. I am happy that they are looking at bullet reflector for Mayhem mode and some of the modifiers and doing some adjustments to that. That is the good news there. But also one of the things that I want to talk about is Anointed gear. Now, a lot of things that he talks about, or pretty much almost preaches at this whole co-op couch, is just diversity and talking about how gear pieces and different items, legendary items, all of that, character builds, it's all about diversity and how they want to make it so anyone can mix and match and keep it without making broken builds or just straight up OP builds that, once you make it, this is the god tier build of everything. So I do like that they're addressing and looking at a lot of these issues that they're going to be implementing, especially weapon hot fixes in the future. But what he talks about here with Anointed gear, it is interesting what he has to say.
Questions about potential anointment type tweaks.
Yeah, so Anointed is definitely one of the gear progression levels that we want to...
Oh, come on. I might need you. Or not. Thank you.
Anointed is definitely one of the avenues where we want to increase build diversity. You'll be seeing a lot of adjustments there in the future where we can promote new builds or new interactions between skills and gear. So yes, we are definitely looking at Anointed gear. That's why you saw 2 this week with Zane and Flack. Expect to see more in the future, and it's definitely one of the it's quiet.
I know, right?
Definitely one of the avenues we're looking at to increase to promote our goal of build diversity. So.
Right.
So yeah, I am happy that they're adjusting Anointed gear pieces. It's going to make a big difference in build diversities like they're going for, especially what they just did for Zane and Flag. So I'm happy that they're looking over them. But that brings me to my next point that they talk about legendary weapons and gear pieces where some are just overperforming what they expected. But forgive some of the audio when they had on Couch Co-op, their mics. It was a little rough to hear. So at one point, I do type in where you can see and listen to the guns that they talk about at that point, like the Hellwalker and everything. So in case you guys were wondering, their mics just got ruffled up a little bit.
While we are looking at, our ultimate goal is to create and increase build diversity.
Right.
Sometimes we have to look at all items that could reduce or affect that goal. And in the future, and in the coming weeks, there will be multiple adjustments to gear pieces. And some of the ones include the most popular gear out there. We have to look at, and I'll be specific about it too, because I'm the one that's involved in adjusting it. So gear like Hellwalker, Lyuda, we know they're very popular. I do not want to completely destroy their gameplay, but they are definitely overperforming.
Okay.
And then we have over 100 other legendaries that we think that could use increases here and there, and we're going to go through them and make sure that if we do make adjustments to the popular ones like Hellwalker and Lyuda, that we bring other ones up so that it's not like a even trade-off. It's more like a slight adjustment to the Lyuda and the Hellwalker, and then a great large adjustment to bring other things up to meet those kind of promises that the Lyuda and the Hellwalker offer too.
I think we all saw that coming. As Grant said, you know, Hellwalker and certain OP legendaries are going to probably get like slight nerfs, and then a lot of them that are underperforming are going to get huge boosts. You know, some of these things that weapons that are not doing is great. I feel like maybe when they put the game out, they weren't finished, you know, buffing these guns up a little bit, because a lot of them feel very underpowered. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only like a handful of guns that felt like were really detailed, and they just do a hell of a lot of damage. But I could be wrong on that. Anyway, they are addressing that issue, which is, I feel, a good thing, as long as they don't nerf too much and they just try and bring everything up to par. That's what I would like to see, if anything. Make it more even across the board, but I do want more OP, if anything. But one of the things that was asked, are they going to be bringing anything new to Mayhem mode? And this is what Grant had to say.
Mayhem modifiers that are not damage related, so like other things like low gravity, or the zone is filled with Goliaths.
You don't want a damage modifier, but you want a zone filled with Goliath.
See, there you go.
We're looking at ways to expand Mayhem. Stay tuned for that. We hope to have announcements about any of that stuff in the near future.
Okay.
So let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this big patch that's supposed to be coming, and a lot of the things that he updated us on and telling us like what we should be expecting for the future. So everything we just went over, I'm really excited for, and I think Gearbox has got their head in the right spot, and they seem to be working very hard to keep this game up to date in quality of life, hopefully coming in the future, like skippable cutscenes, right? So I am really excited for everything that they talked about, and it's just, you know, going to make the game in a better place in the future as well, especially more build diversities. But I am going to play one last short clip at the end where Grant tells you a little bit of everything that he is doing is nothing to screw anyone over or wanting to destroy builds at all, which I do understand and believe what he has to say. It's not like they're purposely going out of their way. But other than that, that's all I really got for you guys. So if you want, you can follow me on Twitter at HamboneGaming. If you enjoy the video, thumbs up would be appreciated, you guys. Consider subscribing for all more Borderlands 3 content headed your way. But that's all I have, so I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.
We don't ever ruin a build, and that is never the intention. So we are just simply looking for ways to increase the diversity of builds. So.